Which celebrity did you meet and found they were much kinder, ruder than you expected?
I met Renee Zellweger and she was so much kinder than I ever could have imagined. This was when Hurricane Harvey hit Texas. I was working at Austin Pets Alive and we took in thousands of animals from hard-hit areas. It was insane. One day Renee Zellweger just showed up to volunteer. No warning, no fanfare. In fact, the only reason I noticed her is that she was wearing long sleeves and long pants and it was August in Texas. She spent a week volunteering. She did laundry, cleaned out poop-covered crates, and drove vans of dogs from Houston to Austin. Not a pleasant job with the smell and the barking. I hope this doesn't get buried because she was truly amazing. So nice and hardworking. The laundry room was next to my office so we became friendly over the week she was there. There are multiple news articles about this so it's legit. Forever a fan. Edit. Obviously this did not get buried lol. Thank you for the awards. I love hearing about your APA, HPA, SAPA, Harvey dogs and cats. Makes me feel like I made a difference. I don't work there anymore, but I still try to volunteer when I can.
Saw Ryan Gosling at my brother's graduation. His mom was graduating with a master's degree from same school. Ryan sat in front of me. He clapped for every kid who got on stage to get their diploma. I was so tired from such a long ceremony that I almost didn't even clap for my brother. Cold sweat smile.
A few years ago Tenacious D played a concert in Kuala Lumpur. The building the concert was in was pretty small, and there's no way they made a lot of money from the show. Despite that, after the show was over, Jack Black came back out on the stage and just chatted and joked around with people for like an hour. My buddy yelled out, "I love your shirt." Jack Black yelled back, "I love your shirt. Trade me." Then he took off his shirt and threw it to my buddy, who threw his shirt to Jack Black. Jack Black threw my friend's shirt back after pretending to try it on. My friend is much thinner than Black, haha, and then told him to keep his shirt from the concert. It was a great experience. Edit, off.
Was at the Blue Lagoon in Iceland and someone floated by me that I recognized but couldn't put a name to. I kept stealing glances at him to try and figure out who he was. When I finally figured out it was Ryan Gosling, he must have seen the realization on my face, because he smiled at me, winked, and put his finger over his lips in a shish gesture. I think no one else had recognized him. He had a full beard. Left him alone, as you do, but I'll always remember that wink.
I went to an Audio Shoes skate event at a mall in Oklahoma City. The Audio Team skaters were all there signing merch and posters. Of all the skaters who were there, Bam Margera was the one I was most excited to meet. In my head I kept thinking, this guy's going to slap me or say something mean, but it will be funny, that's just who he is. I get up to his table, kinda stutter a bit, and all I could say was, "I only skate element boards and I love you." Damn it, I felt so stupid. 14 years old and I just embarrassed myself. He replied, "I only skate element 2 man, and I love you too." He looks at my feet and I'm wearing a purple Bam Audio shoes. "Your shoes are beep though, you skate a lot?" I said, "Yeah, every single day, unless it's raining." If that guy didn't just melt my heart right there. He comes back with another pair of purple Bam Audio shoes, too big for me at the time but that was fine, and signed the box. Then he brought me some rubber soft trucks so I could attach them to my board and skate indoors when it was raining. Then he grabbed a fresh Bam purple and white element board, signed it, and handed it over. He told me, "Listen here beep, you skate every day. Don't let anything hold you back. I hope one day I see you on TV too. Maybe we could skate together sometime." That was over 15 years ago. I still hope to one day be able to skate with him, even if for only a few minutes. Bam, I'm still waiting on you. I'm still skating, smile. Edit spelling. Thanks for the gold and silver. Second edit, I didn't realize he was so open to letting people come skate at his property. I would love to travel out there and actually try to do this when the quarantine is over.
I met Gordon Ramsay once at a book signing event. I was just walking around the area and ran into him on his free time. He was actually so nice and down to earth. Talked about food for a few minutes, and how he's liking his trip so far. Super nice guy and nothing like you see on his cooking shows.
Haven't had many rude experiences, but I can definitely attest that Michael Fassbender was a kind man who acted more excited to meet me than I was to meet him. Very satisfied by that experience.
Brent Hines from Mastodon was the biggest asshole I've ever met back in 2009. Met him again in 2012 and he invited me to join him for drinks at a local bar, where we talked for hours and he turned out to be the coolest famous person I've ever met. Turns out, sometimes people just have a bad day.
I met Penn and Teller in NYC when they did some NYC shows one year. They had a meet and greet and I got to meet both of them. I was kinda starstruck because I was a big fan, but they were super cool about it. And it was really weird for Teller to talk to me. Also, Teller isn't short, Penn is just beep huge.
I posted this before so I just more or less copy-paste smile. Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters met him and the band the night before they played a concert in our town. I was with a friend in a random-ass empty bar and all of the sudden they walk in and sit at a table. My friend freaked out and wanted to go over to them but I felt like, NAAAHH leave them be. But she couldn't resist, took a confidence shot and walked over. She chatted with them for a few minutes and soon waved me over. I got over there as well and shook hands with everybody. Dave was really nice and asked us if we would come to the show the next day, but of course, it was sold out months ago. He said not to worry and that he would put us on his guest list. Yada yada, we kept talking for a few more minutes, but soon left, because we didn't want to disrupt them too much. Even though they didn't act as if we would bother them at all. The next day went to the venue, we didn't have too much hope though. We thought he probably forgot but we wanted to try anyway. And who would have thought, he didn't forget, we were on his guest list and we absolutely had the best time of our life. Dave Grohl really is the nicest person of rock and roll. Edit. Oh wow, this blew up overnight. Thanks for the awards.
Brad Pitt is a top-notch guy in real life. I met him in Malta while he was filming Troy. I was guiding a group of students as a group leader on a holiday trip and we saw Pitt just walking out of a cafe. He took time to take lots of pictures with all the kids and was really nice to everyone. Among my group were a bunch of teenage girls who almost fainted. Hilarious day all around.
Robin Williams was shooting a film in my city. He stopped by the nearest senior home just to say hello and take pictures with the residents. No other reason than to brighten up their day. Class act of a man. My grandma was a resident.
I met Liam Hemsworth at a supermarket in a small coastal town in Australia earlier this year. I almost didn't even notice it was him as he fit in seamlessly, being the down-to-earth, laid-back Aussie guy he is. He was super nice and genuine, and even made an effort to thank the employees and the store's security on his way out.
Kinder, Hugh Jackman. He's known for being nice, but I didn't expect him to be so genuine and actually keep the conversation going, and to keep asking questions and showing interest. It must be exhausting considering how many people he meets every day, yet he is always on. Ruder, Will Ferrell. He's known for being rude and mean, and I thought maybe it was exaggerated as people might expect him to be nice and funny and are disappointed when he's not. He was okay to me as in he didn't talk any beat, but I saw him being a complete and utter prick to others.
Bobby Flay is a complete douche.
David Beckham, not just a nice guy, but when his kids came to the secret event we were filming and some people spotted them, he came across and told the public who could see him that he'd do any photos or signings they liked, but to please leave his kids alone as they were not in the public eye and he wanted them to be afforded privacy. Good dad. Jamie Lee Curtis. We chatted about cameras for ages before I realized who she was after we finished chatting. She had a very nice Leica. Skater Christina Lenko was an absolute diamond, playing with someone's kids on set between rehearsals. I fell a little bit in love watching her. Eartha Kitt. Despite being mid-80s, she was doing 2 shows a day and would still use the show interval for a fan meet and greet. Then her rider was a salmon salad sandwich. A true star with true humility. I won't go on about the dickheads. They tend to be mid-famous on the way up. The bottom rung are just so happy to be entertaining, the top rung have nothing to prove.
Chadwick Boseman, who I met while I was working as an extra. We weren't supposed to talk to the actors, but he struck up a conversation with me. Asked me how I was doing, told me I was doing a great job. He was a genuine, sweet person and an incredible talent. I also met Jeff Goldblum, who put my hand on his chest after I complimented his shirt and flirted with me for a few minutes. It was amazing.
Johnny Depp when he was filming for Public Enemies in the town I lived in. They turned our whole downtown area into a movie set and even rolled out this fake cobblestone over the roads. Was pretty neat. As for Johnny, he was very sweet and nice. He asked me if I tried out to be one of the extras. I said that I did not since they were looking for more thinner women. He could not believe they were not including the locals of all shapes and asked if I wanted to be an extra. I said no, I would probably be too scared to mess up on camera anyway. Gave me a kiss on my hand and told me that I have a beautiful soul and continued on his way down the line of fans. Edit, for those asking where, this was in Columbus, why?
I've worked in a couple presenting theaters, as in, they don't produce their own shows, they hire traveling acts in the box office. The theater I worked at in college had Jerry Seinfeld, which sold out in 25 minutes. By the end of my shift, my cash out was $8,200 in cash alone, largest stack I've ever held. The staff had to have a special meeting before the event to discuss Seinfeld's rider, because his rider included a clause that no front-of-house staff were allowed backstage while he was in the building, so we couldn't use the backstage bathrooms or the break room. We were also contractually required to avert our eyes if we happened to run into him. Most stupid beep ever.
I worked with Mads Mikkelsen. He is the nicest person you will ever meet. Zero ego. Just a pleasure to work with.
Kristen Bell, one of the most sweetest, down-to-earth people you'll ever meet. I worked at a high-end hotel spa and she came in on one of our most busiest weekends and was so patient. Most celebrities I encountered booked with aliases and through an assistant. She just called in on her own and booked as any other person would. This seems like the bare minimum, but I've had some super needy celebrity guests. She is also an extremely generous tipper. She is the exact person that she appears in TV interviews.
Also, I recall a comedian being impressed when he met Arnold Schwarzenegger. The man has a bodyguard who has to stop him from talking to a single fan for too long, otherwise he would have never stopped on time for the rest of the fans to get their turn to speak to him. Imagine being so nice to your fans that you need someone to stop you. Edit, Gabriel Iglesias aka Fluffy is the name of the comedian.
Second-hand story, a friend worked at the Reagan Library and Adam Sandler visited with his kids. She said he was really friendly and super accommodating with fans. He only asked they not bother or photograph his kids, which is totally fair.
Nick Offerman is a gem of a human being. He came to my small college in an Illinois suburb for a book tour thing, and I was in an a cappella group at the time, and we were rehearsing in the building where he was doing the signing, and he accidentally walked in on us, and ended up staying to listen to a song, complimented us, hung out for 5 minutes, and signed stuff for all of us. Super genuine, funny guy.
I used to work in the music and film industry, as a grunt, when I was in my early 20s, so I've met a lot of celebrities. George Clooney was the nicest one, so down to earth, and would play practical jokes on the entire crew very regularly. He had these t-shirts made for every crew member to wear with the director's picture on the cover of People's Sexiest Man Alive, lol. This was not an attractive director, it was kind of a joke between them, I guess. He had his car drive people home if buses weren't on schedule or whatever. He'd eat lunch with the crew rather than in his trailer. I had the pleasure of working a show on a David Bowie tour he did in theaters. Every member of his band made a point to thank the crew members. IDK if Bowie himself did it, but I wouldn't be surprised. Chrissy Hynde, The Pretenders, was also awesome and talked to everyone, didn't act like she was even a celebrity in the least. The assholes I've met are too many to count, but some who I didn't expect to be jerks were Marilyn Manson, IDK why I didn't expect it, but the guy was a huge douchebag. Paul Simon was also kind of a dick. Prince was a huge weirdo who wouldn't let anybody even look at him.
I met Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, several times. He was exactly as nice and kind and wonderful as you'd think he was.
Not really kind or rude, but I was in line for Ron Perlman's autograph and I heard him tell his staff at least 3 times that he had to pee. They kept encouraging him to keep signing and getting the fans out of the venue, and he just kept on until the distress in his face was visible. He finally just said beep it and started walking to the bathroom. I just happened to be in his way and one of his handlers tried to get him to come back when he just snapped and said loudly, "I have to piss," simultaneously pulling away from his handlers and shoving me out of the way. I got hit by Hellboy. Not even mad.
Paris Hilton once asked to sit with me and some friends outside of a Jack in the Box when she was plastered. She threw up on my shoes. 3 days later I ran into her at a concert and she full force pushed me over. Her sister apologized, though. The sister was cool.
Alice Cooper was really nice to his fans.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.